Coming early and your girl is the latest, and she's saying that she down, but the crib always vacant, and you do $1's worth, but it's pennies that you making, and you tryna be the greatest. You gotta get creative when you from the side of town where the kids hardly make it, and you try to ease your mind, but the pigs always hating, and your freedom's on the line, and it's years that you facing, and you tryna be the greatest.
All right, what's up? What's the remedy? It's your boy Dr. J.
Day one.
Ashley Ray.
All right, y'all. Now I don't even be doing the intro I'm supposed to be doing every time.
I like that.
I wish I could.
What's up?
No, I'm talking about the
You're
whole.
talking about the antiseptic for your
the
measure for your pleasure.
Yeah, like the whole thing I was supposed to read. Okay, but it's like your weekly conversation about men, mental health, social issues, and all the other shit that plagues society. The prescribed antiseptic to toxic masculinity. This is What's the Remedy?
Oh, that sounds so professional.
It's because I'm a professional.
I'm like, yeah, y'all know what it is.
Yeah, we talking about some
We
shit
here.
today.
Yeah, it's
We
some
here.
shit.
We in the build now.
But yeah, so how was y'all weekend?
It was good. I didn't do much. I just took care of me. I had to unplug for a minute.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it was an unplugged kind of rest kind of weekend.
Yeah, take some me time.
I really did. Like,
I actually did something this weekend,
What'd you do?
which is like, I mean, it's not new for me because I'm always doing something. But I went to the rodeo, to the cook-off.
that's what I wanted to do.
I finally got into the tents, man. I was
It
like,
was nice.
like I ain't never been in the
Oh
tents
yeah, I looked at
before.
your snap. Y'all was drunk.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was supposed to give it up.
feeling.
I was supposed to give up hard liquor for Lent, but I was like, it was a special occasion. So
What was special?
I had never been in the tent before.
Got in the tent.
The tent had open bar. Like I
I
can't
know, that's
pass
why
up
I
open
wanted to
bar.
go. But I could not go on Friday. I couldn't eat like meat. So I was like,
Oh yeah, that's tough. I went on Saturday, so I went Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, really, because afternoon was better because they got me in the tent and they had no hassle, no line, nothing.
oh, that's cool. You ate and drunk?
Yep, got me some barbecue. They barbecue is all right
good?
for some white people barbecue, you know.
Oh, you racist. Oh, okay.
No, I
No,
was in the
you racist.
United tent.
Okay.
You know, there's a difference between barbecues now.
It is?
There ain't.
I don't know. I never tasted other people's barbecue.
Well,
Or
see?
I don't know who's cooking back there at,
At where?
let me
Where
think
you get
where I
barbecue
know
from? Burns.
Yeah.
Oh, ain't
Papa's,
that, ain't that black
I
people?
don't like.
See, Papa's barbecue you don't like, right?
I don't like
That's why people like barbecue.
I'm not a big, no, I go out. Yeah, I do go to the hood.
Right.
Some
You go to the
days.
hood barbecue spots.
I do go off of Homestead, but I don't really get barbecue like that though.
No. Well, I mean, like, it was food. And it wasn't lacking flavor. It was alright.
The
So
sauce was right. I like the sauce.
the sauce was decent. It was decent. Like, it made the brisket okay. And, you know, brisket, like, that's how you really tell if somebody can barbecue if their brisket is good. You couldn't really tell because I had to kind of drown it in sauce. So it wasn't really that great.
Oh.
But, I mean, it was, like I said, it was food. And they had speaking of, remember that it was like some weeks ago. I think we were doing the Thanksgiving episode and we were talking about, like, potato salad.
Yeah.
And I told y'all there's a such thing as warm potato salad. White people have warm potato salad. That's what they were serving there. Like, it was hot.
That's the only way I eat it.
Like,
I eat when it's first made, or I have to heat it up. I can't eat cold potatoes.
We know what you are.
That's weird.
We already know what you are. You ain't gotta even say nothing.
And I'm very proud of it.
Okay.
I'm very proud of my European heritage.
Okay,
I
I
was
know
gonna
you
say,
are. I
'cause-
mean,
No,
I don't like warm potato salad.
And you know, it
potato
was
salad
good.
is not supposed to be warm.
It was good, but I wouldn't consider it potato salad. Like,
Right.
Like my gal was saying, it was more like
Potatoes.
twice baked potatoes or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not potato salad because potato salad's supposed to be cold.
Right.
With I don't know.
Tell your people, get it together.
I think we do it right.
Yeah, no.
You can see his face.
I just think some of y'all weren't privileged with a microwave
Say,
or against stove, which I couldn't heat it up.
House niggas over here had a stove while we
had
down
to eat
here.
it cold.
Yeah, had to eat it cold.
But no,
go back into your history books.
It was alright though. It had bacon and shit in it. It was alright.
So that's loaded potatoes.
Yeah,
that's basically what it was.
Get out of here.
That was just loaded potatoes. That wasn't potato salad.
It was potato
Talking about
salad. They called it
bacon
potato salad,
mixed.
so I'm gonna say it's potato
Bacon
salad.
in there? There ain't no potato salad.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what they called it, so potato salad. But no, they had an open bar. You know, it was the United Tent. It was real cool.
What kind of music they was playing?
It's the rodeo. They can
I
play
mean, you
country
play
music.
everything. No,
I
you
mean,
better
like
play
in the
everything.
United Tent, that's the white
Yeah, they
people
play
shit. That's gonna be
country.
country,
So?
straight country. In
Just
fact, they had a
straight
live band there.
That's what I
Straight
like.
country
Oh,
music.
I like that. I would have jammed to that.
I mean, it was cool. I was drunk by the time the live band got there, so.
If you're looking for a...
And then I went to go walk around the carnival, get some of the carnival food. What we get? Like a fried something.
I got a
Making
funnel cake.
Oh, that's that funnel cake
I want
and
one right now.
churros.
I want some funnel cake.
Last time I went, I had a fried cheesecake. That was good.
It was
though.
good?
Yeah,
I
because I
know.
like cheesecake though.
Fried cheesecake?
Yeah, man, fried.
I want a turkey leg. Oh, I
Oh,
see
them
them
turkey
on-
legs are good too.
Somebody showed a picture of that today. I was like, dang.
That's like the main reason to go to the rodeo. Is
Yeah.
just get all
I
that
ain't
food.
gonna lie.
Man, I seen somebody post. I follow this page on Instagram called Hot Pink Houston, and they be doing like a lot of food reviews and stuff. And like, I guess the girl that runs it, she was like doing a rodeo cook-off eating thing at NRG, and like it was indoors, but they got to test all the different foods. And like she was showing some of the foods that they had, and I was like, damn, I just want to go back and try all this shit now. Like it was crazy.
It's a lot. Well, I guess there's a lot of food, but the lines be long. Like
Well,
for
I
a
mean, it
funnel
wasn't-
cake,
Well, it wasn't this time. It was no lines on
because
this
it
weekend.
just start. Yeah.
Yeah,
When
no.
you
When you
start
go
going,
like, or you go like the
concert,
Black People weekend or something, it's gonna be
See, I
packed.
don't go
Ain't
to
nobody
Black-
going. Ain't nobody going.
Well, ain't nobody going
Who
to the
gonna be
concert.
there?
Leon Bridges.
I like him. What he sing?
You don't even know who he is.
Yes, I
You
do.
just said what he saying.
I do, but
Hi.
he sang that home song. I got him in my phone.
Home.
Home. I'm a
Yeah, he do sing something called
Told
home.
I feel like I've heard that before,
yeah,
but I don't.
Does he sing anything else I know?
No.
Probably not because nobody else know who he is.
Forget y'all.
In fact, I seen a promo for the Black Heritage Night, and they were showing this song he was singing. I was like, I've never heard this before. He had like a whole acoustic guitar and all that shit on there.
I bet y'all got him.
And I was like,
in my
man, I don't even know who this is.
Leon, where you at, Leon?
But y'all ain't going. So y'all ain't going to Black Heritage Night. Are y'all going to the rodeo at all?
I don't know if my
I might go now because
if some nice young man would like to take me, I'm down to go.
I bet you are.
Everybody hit up the show. What's the Remedy Podcast at gmail.com. Ashley's looking for
Cause I can't.
somebody to
afford,
take her to
Go
the
to
rodeo.
Instagram
afford
and go, it's Ashley Ray.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. So it's
Instagram.
like, take me.
It's _ Ashley
Ashley
Ray.
Ray. Yeah. Hit her up. She looking for a date.
Yeah. Straight to the DMs,
I actually
you
put that
guys.
in there. I actually wrote a question about that.
Have your wallet ready.
Yeah, because I don't believe in paying for
Wow.
nothing.
That's tough. I mean, good luck with y'all with the rodeo thing.
Do you really think we should pay?
Do I think that you should pay if you want to go to the rodeo? Yes.
Nah, I'm good. It's high.
Who you telling?
I actually want to go to see the actual events.
I would like to go.
Event?
The actual rodeo.
Oh, no, I'm
I've
good.
only
It's
been.
stank. I'm good.
I've only been like that time. Like, remember we used to have to work the rodeo?
Yeah.
That's probably the last time that I really remember
Oh,
seeing
y'all
the
worked the
events.
rodeo?
Mhm.
Yeah, in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Y'all wore boots and stuff? I can see.
Nah.
No, we was
I can see
We
they
had to wear
was.
whatever.
Yeah, CSC with the yellow
CSC
shirt.
yellow shirts.
Oh, I used to. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I only worked for go see NSYNC and then I quit.
We worked the rodeo and we worked the Texas versus Colorado
Yeah,
championship
the
game.
Big 12 championship
Big 12
game.
championship game.
The big
Whatever.
ass Buffalo rocking on the field.
Vince Young ran it right there, right by where I was working at.
Turned
I
up.
was like, damn, Vince Young gonna be cold when he get to the league.
You didn't mess that boy career up. You shouldn't even said nothing.
And that big ass steer with a Bevo mascot was
Yeah.
peeing and shit. Like, oh, she getting up.
Yeah, we had to be standing next to the Longhorn and shit. It was scary out there.
It was?
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
too
big ass
big.
animal.
Oh, they had a real longhorn over
Yeah,
there.
Bevo was at
that's
every
a
game.
real, and then
Oh.
Colorado had like a real buffalo.
A buffalo on
Why
their
they got
side.
a real animals?
Yeah,
That
they
stink.
run out the end zone to the other end zone. Big
So I
ass,
know he just never mind.
like a minivan.
Yeah, they big as hell. Yeah, it was cool working those. So that's like the only time I got to see the rodeo though, because we were working it. But yeah, I think the rodeo. I do want to go sit down and watch the rodeo.
Get
one
on
time.
a ride.
A ride.
I don't
they
want
got
to do,
that
I don't do the
slingshot
carnival
thing.
shit.
I don't do no more carnival rides. And did y'all see that video that went around like last
Yeah,
year?
Yeah, all the deaths with those, like all the rides breaking down and shit.
It was just one big ride that I saw, and it was one of the ones that swings,
Mhm.
and like the people like it was somebody had put it on like Snapchat or something, and like it like broke while it was at the top, and so when they came back down, like the people just got smashed into the thing.
Oh yeah,
They died.
oh yeah.
A couple
of them
died, but then but you could see like from the video, like a nigga's leg was twisted the other way.
I'm good. That's
And
all
I was like,
gotta
I can't do
tell
carnival
me.
rides.
Yeah,
dog.
because they don't put that together. Like,
They got to put it together and take it down all the time. Nah, I'm good.
I like
So I got on the one that just drops you down.
doesn't drop
Like
kind
2
of thing.
years, yeah. Never again.
I-
I didn't know it went that high.
I don't
was
like heights. I'm
Me
scared
neither.
of heights.
I just got on it because somebody said, let's get on the ride. And I'm an idiot. And I just went along for the ride.
Yeah, no, I don't do carnival rides. For one thing, because they carnival rides. The other thing is I don't like heights. The only ride I'll get on that's like high is like roller coasters. I can handle roller coasters. Roller coasters are different. Like
No,
you
they're not.
inside of a seat is buckled down, and
That's
you
just
going,
like what I got on. I was
you-
buckled down.
but you drop just straight down.
Straight down.
See, no,
You
I can't.
sitting
do-
down locked in.
I was like, you ain't go at the incline. You just went straight
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
down.
Like
And your
at least a
feet
roller coaster you got like
hanging.
an
That's all I was
incline.
like, oh God, my legs gonna break.
Nah.
That's all I kept thinking.
I can do an incline because a roller coaster you go down. I mean, it kind of straight down, but it just feels more like an incline than just dropping straight to the ground from a high height.
You feel that brief drop versus you just
Yeah, that's all you doing is
But
dropping.
y'all don't do the carnival rides. They say they wrong.
I mean, you can do carnival rides. I mean, people survive carnival rides every day.
I survive driving these freeways every day.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. You don't have no
Just
car accident.
gotten a
People die in
red
car
glass,
accidents
man.
every day. So
Swinging and banging out there.
you good. But what was I gonna say? Damn it. Oh, speaking of, since we talking about fear, we can go straight into the check yourself segment for today because what we're gonna talk about today is fear. Because I'm scared of heights personally.
Me too.
So what do you feel like is your greatest fear? What are you most scared of? Or what are you scared of, period?
I don't know. I'm
You not
scared of
scared
a lot
of
of
it?
it. I'm scared of a lot of things.
mine is not living up to my potential.
Oh,
That's interesting.
nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Ash?
Scared of not leaving anything in this world of me.
Y'all got deep fears.
Yeah,
I was gonna say-
I actually didn't want to talk about this today. It's about to get real deep, y'all. Somebody's gonna.
Man, I was just gonna say
He was like, I'm scared of spiders.
That's exactly what
That's
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, damn, I'm just scared of spiders.
I thought
Y'all,
about that. I was like, yeah,
y'all
yeah,
deep.
yeah.
Yeah, nah. I
I'm
mean,
a woman. I'm of age. Back in the day, they were like, "You're done for." I'm 34.
man, I feel
Them
you.
eggs getting old.
Oh, goddamn.
I'm about to be. Well, I can't really say
I
nothing
gotta
about
get-
age and eggs and stuff
I
because
know, cause
men
y'all
keep
out here
shooting.
keep.
Shoot.
Some of y'all can't
Can't
shoot,
shoot.
but that's cool. Y'all still out here. Okay, I'm just so y'all quiet now. Okay,
I ain't got no problem. I ain't got no issue. So
I'm about to say, you gonna get that worked out, you know what I'm saying? Go to the T Center.
that's all right. I just adopt. I said I'll just give me a little Chinese baby.
that's what you're saying. You scared of is not leaving a child
Yeah.
behind.
I like
It's just a
something
piece of
in
you,
my
just something to
something
remember
in
you.
me.
Just something to remember you by.
yeah.
I feel you. Why don't you start a blog or something?
Okay. About what?
I don't know your life.
Oh, y'all don't want that.
Blog about the life and times of Ashley Ray.
I've actually chilled a little bit. Y'all should call me Lash. I'm good. I'm trying to chill more. Be quiet.
Well, I mean, those are all, decent. And I mean, honestly, I was going to say I'm scared of spiders and heights because those are two things I'm really scared
I'm
of.
scared of spiders. I'm scared to be alone too.
I'm scared of spiders, scared of snakes.
Yeah. I can, you know
Is
what?
that
And I'm
fear?
not
Is
really scared
fear
of snakes like
fear?
that.
Is that fear?
What?
Snakes?
Yeah, if you're scared of them, it's a
No,
fear.
I'm not fear. Okay, I'm thinking of my fear. Like I didn't know I'm fearful to be alone. Till you alone, you be like, yeah.
So, just sitting by yourself, you can't just do that?
I'm just thinking who's gonna be there for me.
Oh, okay.
My emergency contact is my mother. That's a sad. We get deep today, y'all. Yeah.
You
I
getting
think
sad.
I think it's the other side of that too. I'm not afraid to be alone, but should I be afraid about feeling like that?
Should you be afraid that you don't fear being
Yeah.
alone?
Yeah, because we always talk everybody needs somebody. That's supposed to have somebody.
Yeah.
So if you
But I'm starting
not
to
afraid of
realize that I thought even this weekend I needed to be alone. Sometimes I need to be by myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe that's not a big fear, but it should how you said, should we be afraid of that?
Yeah.
Because I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it. So
So maybe it's not that You used to be scared of it, so now you're used to it. Are you not scared of it anymore?
I don't know yet.
Oh. Okay, well, y'all kind of jumped ahead of everything I was going to say. Cause so basically, no, this is good. Because basically there's 5 things.
Here we go.
There's 5. So there's 5 basic types of fear. And so, like, the way that they constructed this in psychology is that everything you are scared of is based off one of these 5 things. So people can say, oh, I'm scared of closets. They're claustrophobic. They could say they're scared of spiders. They're scared of heights. You know, anything you could think of.
Scared
That's
of
a fear.
elevators.
Scared of elevators.
I am. Like, yeah.
Like, everything is based off of one of these 5. All right.
Them hoes gonna drop.
So the number one, starting with number one, the number one fear is extinction. So everybody knows what extinction is, right? That's like dying.
Yeah.
Like, so basically you can find a fear of death in all of those fears. Like me personally, I got a fear of heights.
Okay.
So I'm scared of heights because like every time I get up to somewhere high, like my first thought is,
jump.
How's it going to feel when I hit the ground from here?
My first thought is jump for some reason.
Well, I mean, that's kind of common too.
Why? I thought it was just me. I said, man, I'm messed up in the head because I'll be thinking, like, what if I just fall?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Like, if I just jump off of here?
That's that initial fear. Your initial fear is to die. Your fear of extinction. That's one of the main fears of the human body.
The crazy part is I've jumped off like a waterfall in Jamaica, but if I tell y'all that ain't the best feeling, everybody's like, oh, you feel great. No, you won't. I felt nothing but air. Then I finally hit the water.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like that
I was
feeling
like,
at all.
I'm good. And I also got whiplash because I tightened up. I was like, oh God, that water hurt.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. Like, I've done a lot of things to try to face my fears, like, you know, trying to do, like roller coasters. Like I said before, I can ride roller coasters, but it's really like a facing my fear type thing when I ride a roller coaster. And so I guess I get that thrill from it.
Bungee jump?
Hell no. Hell no.
My cousin did.
I won't bungee jump. I won't skydive. Like, I can't do anything where there's like the actual risk of me, you know, like dying. Like, I'm increasing the risk. Like, I'm already scared of heights for the reason that I'm scared of dying.
So
I'm not going to increase that.
Like, when you get on the elevator, do you, like, in there, you going to the 20-something floor, do you think about it? How far are you going up? I think about it.
No, I'll tell you this. Like,
that's how scared
if I'm inside the elevator, I'll be all right. But there was like
I don't like the open part. Like, I'll never look out.
Right. Because I would say, you've been to like them hotels where like the elevator's on the inside and it takes you up and you can see down as you're going up. Yep. No, I don't like that. That makes me scared.
That's how my job is.
That's like being in the building of a building that's like 20-something stories up. Yeah. And you go, like, you have people go out to windows like, oh, look at the view and stuff.
You don't see me do it.
I don't like going up to the edge. Because I feel like, because my mindset goes to like, what if I touch the window and this one just falls through and stuff like that.
You ain't gonna see me on the news. I'm straight.
Like, okay, so I went to Chicago in March of last year. April last year.
Everybody take pictures of, what's that thing?
So there's this thing
Sears Tower? No.
Well, yeah, you can do it inside that glass thing.
Yeah.
That's in the Sears Tower or in the Willis Tower now. But
they changed the name?
Yeah, because Willis took over Sears.
My bad.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't need knowing about it. I learned that when I got there.
Okay.
But there's another tower called the Hancock Tower. And so there was this thing on Facebook. This is how I found it out. Because there was this thing on Facebook where they were like, oh, this tilt ride where it tilts you forward and you can look down.
I've seen that.
And so when we got to the Hancock building, we were like, we got to try the tilt. And so like, I was like, I don't know. I was like, it don't look that bad. Like when you look at it, I mean, you can see it from the ground. Like you can see the thing coming out from like the top floor up there and tilting people down so that they can look. So we got up there, got our tickets and did it. That shit was scary. Like it literally bends you forward to where like you're hanging over the side and like looking down the side of the building. Like you can see all the windows down the side of the building. And then they kind of hold you there.
Why would you even want to do that?
The scariest part about like, I seen that on the clip, whatever. The scariest part about that, like they have like the little rails you hold on from the side and stuff. But my thing is this, like, if this made out of plexiglass or whatever, like if my hand slip off one of these rails and I hit this glass,
it's over, bro.
Yeah, I'm falling through.
Oh, it's like that?
Yeah. No.
That's what this feels like.
But it makes you feel that way. And that's why like it made me scared too. Cause I'm like, I'm heavy. Like
if I hit this glass, it's over.
I ain't
So
doing
if I slip off the and then because cause I'm like super nervous when I'm doing this. Mind you, like they tell you when you start going there, like if you start feeling yourself, not feeling real or whatever, then you can always just all you have to do is take one step back off the platform. You back like off of it. I mean, it's still bending forward, but you won't be on it anymore. And so like miraculously, I stayed on it the whole time. My gal, who was not, I didn't think she was as scared as me. She jumps off of it, like when it starts going forward all the way. But like while I'm doing it, I'm so nervous that my hands start sweating.
Yeah.
And so like my hands are sliding on the pole and shit. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna die, y'all. I'm gonna die, y'all. And so like I was thinking that exact thing.
Because you want to be a G. No,
I had to be a G. Like I had
but that's like how I felt. Like I said, when I went on that cruise, whatever, and like we had like the balcony, whatever, on the cruise, and you open up that door.
You wanted to jump home.
No. So you open up that door and you kind of like you got like 1 foot out, but you still holding on to the door, whatever, because you like the way that balcony looks. Like this don't look bolted down good enough. It's like if you and you seen like how choppy this water is, and you seeing no land and shit. You like
was the wind blowing?
Yes.
You ain't go out there.
No, I went out there, but I'm like I'm holding on to the side. And I'm like I'm not finna just sit out here,
bruh. Like okay, so I was in Vegas. So this is the last one I'll tell you about. But this when I was in Vegas, we stayed in this place called MGM Signature. It's a condos like connected to the MGM. But it has like 30 floors or something like that. And our little room was on like I want to say it was like the 25th floor or something like that. And like it had a balcony. And so me, like, cause I'm scared of heights, I don't like this. I don't like it. And so like it just had like a normal railing thing on it. I'm like, nigga, we are 25 floors up here. Y'all should just have this thing like closed in with some glass or something. Like, and so like, and then like we were there with like some, some white dudes and shit like that. So like, dude would like go and he'd like sit on the rail and just be talking and stuff. I'm like, dog, if you don't get off that thing, man, get off of there,
so
dog.
So you sitting on like the rail, he could flip back and.
That's how I feel. But like a lot of people aren't scared of that kind of shit. And I'm like, dog, like you have to move, man. Like it was giving me anxiety. I was like, you gotta move. I can't look at you just chilling on that rail like that. I mean, he wasn't like sitting on it to where he could flip off, but like he just leaning too much on. I'm like, you putting too much weight on it right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want to touch the rail. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's how I be.
I'm so scared of heights.
Yeah. So, but that's the first. That's death.
But I did zip line. But if I told y'all how I did it, I never looked down.
Yeah. If you don't look down, then you don't really get. It's not as bad.
But I wouldn't do it again.
All right. No. So the second one is mutilation. So the other fear people have is not necessarily dying, but they don't want to lose
any limbs.
They don't want to lose any body part, and they also don't want to feel like they've lost control of any body part or something that's taken over a certain part of the body part.
If you had to lose a body part, which body part would it be?
I wouldn't want to lose any body part. I feel like I
don't want to make choice.
Yeah,
I don't want to speak that into existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bet you.
Yeah, I don't like that one. But yeah, so like people fear like not, like you said, losing an arm, losing a leg, like, and they don't know what. And so like, let's say people that are scared of insects. I know that one of the things, I'm not really that bad with spiders, but like when I was in like middle school, they taught us about this brown recluse. And like they showed us pictures of like a brown recluse bite where like the spider had bit somebody on the arm, and like after like a couple of weeks, like the venom had like started eating through the arm where they had to amputate the arm. And I'm like, dog, like what kind of insects are these?
I got bit.
And so like every time I get a bite from then on, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna lose it. This is it. This is my whole arm is gone.
I got bit by that kind of spider. I don't know what I got bit by.
No, I've been bit by. I don't know if I've ever gotten bit by a spider. I've gotten bit. Okay, so I'm allergic to ants too. So like one time I used to play in ants because I was just a weird kid.
Like you used to mess with the ant bed and stuff like that. Me was bad.
Yeah, so I used to, but they were interesting to me because you ever like watch ants and how they like carry shit like back and forth from the ant bed and how they go pick up food and then like the soldier ants bring it back. Like I would go mess with the line that they were going in to see them go around that.
Yeah, because they're very strategic.
Yeah, they can go around whatever obstacle you put in their way or go over it and that kind of shit. I was like, this is cool. So I would mess with ants a lot. This is when I was like 6 or 7. Mind you, I'm allergic as hell and these things are fire ants. So one time I got bit like by a bunch of them on my hand. And you think like getting bit on your hand ain't really a big deal. But like when they started biting me, I was like, oh shit. And so I go inside, start washing my hand off and everything. And then like a couple hours later, my hand starts to swell. Like really bad, just in the one spot where you could see the 3 tiny little bumps where the ants had bit me. Like real tiny bumps. And like my hand just starts to swell. And I'm like, oh shit, at first time my mama starts to put ice on it, putting the, whatever, all the medications and stuff on there, whatever. And then like the next day I wake up and my veins going away from my hand, going up my arm, had started turning red.
What?
And so so like I went to the doctor and they started putting me on all these antibiotics and stuff. And they were like, well, it looks like apparently wherever they bit you, it kind of spread into your bloodstream. And now you have blood poisoning from the ants. And they're like, it's a good thing we caught it now, because if you would have waited too long, we would have probably had to cut your arm to stop it before it made it to your heart. And we would have had to amputate so you can keep the poison from getting to your heart. And I was like, oh shit. So yeah, it was crazy. I have a lot of death stories because I've come close to death a lot of times in my life.
I had to. So.
Yeah, but that's a big thing.
I ain't got no death story.
No, you ain't living.
You ain't living.
living.
You ain't got no death story. You ain't living.
Yeah.
But no, that's the second one is mutilation. You
ain't seen the car coming from the 4-way stop at you, or a nigga kicking in the door with the shotgun.
No, what are you talking about?
Well, you ain't had the back half of your car torn off on 290?
No, I just got in a wreck.
Nah,
I mean,
like I got hit by a truck and it tore off the back half of my car.
I got hit and run, but it wasn't that bad, y'all. I'm good. I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Yeah.
I've been some shit.
Y'all living wrong out here in these streets.
All right, so the number 3, that was number 2. So number 1 is extinction. So death is a big one. Number 2 is mutilation, losing body parts, losing parts of yourself or whatever. Number 3 is
not working.
Yeah, penis not working.
Penis not working.
Yeah, penis not working is mutilation.
Number 3. Oh,
that's number 2. Mutilation
like
includes
not working.
Includes your penis.
I'm sorry. It's so funny.
Well, Viagra ain't gonna help you.
That's so funny. Okay.
Why there was a situation where somebody that happened to somebody? It was like
that's so wrong.
It wasn't working, and basically can't take Viagra because it affects some of the other parts of their heart and stuff. Yeah. So you just kind of stuck.
So do men get really down when you can't get?
I don't know. I don't know that feeling.
I think I would.
I would definitely think I'd have a problem.
I mean, just keep going by life.
How do you? Okay,
it's like being neutered.
So this is like another part of the conversation. But men, a lot of what drives men is that
testosterone.
Yeah, your testosterone, sex, all of that is like what drives men.
Man can't get up. Y'all just don't. Y'all ain't men no more.
Stay in depression and your hormones and stuff probably not gonna.
You gotta really. You have to really like. I think you would need a lot of therapy once you get to that point, because you need to find like what's gonna what's gonna make you feel better. I mean, for one thing, like Wash said, your hormones are gonna be out of whack because your testosterone will be low.
That's probably why a lot of old men over here mad. Some of these men around my age mad too.
Because as you get older, your testosterone levels decrease.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, the fear number 2 is mutilation. So, losing function of any body part or losing a body part or anything like that. So that's why like people, like I said before, have anxiety about bugs, spiders, snakes, stuff like that, because they think it's going to mess up their body in some kind of way. All right, so number 3 is loss of autonomy. Now, autonomy is basically your ability to think for yourself. Or the definition is it's the fear of being immobilized, paralyzed, restricted, or overwhelmed, entrapped, and controlled by circumstances that are beyond your control.
I don't want nobody having to take care of me.
Planes.
Yeah, like claustrophobia. Claustrophobia in general. Anybody that's scared of enclosed spaces or planes and stuff like that, where you have no control over what happens to you.
Oh, I'm straight.
You don't get scared of places where you're not in control.
Probably so, but not planes.
I'm saying that shouldn't bother me. Like I said, I'll get on and like nothing's wrong. But
you like to control everything. You trying to control me right now.
I am. No, but no. I like to be able to move around freely.
Yeah.
And you on the plane, you can't move around. You stuck there.
Yeah.
And I just don't like that feeling.
I think I've had that plane. I've had that feeling in planes. I mean, I guess I take a lot more trips now, but like in the initial times where I would get on the plane, like I would have that fear because I would think, okay, once I get on this plane, this is it. Like if I get sick or anything on the plane, if anything happens on the plane, I can't do shit about it until this plane gets back on the ground.
Okay.
So that's like that fear of, loss of autonomy. You're not in control anymore.
And it's the fact that you just can't move freely. It's the fact that like you having like everybody else looking at you too. So it's kind of like you saying, if I'm sick, like if I had this situation when I was on the plane, I was sick and everything else. It's that fear like I have to pull it together because I can't move around freely like I want to move.
Like I would just get out.
I'm packed in this row with
like
these people.
in church.
Yeah. But at church you can get
you
up.
Can leave.
You can leave.
If you just really want
No, you
to.
can't. You can't leave when the preacher is preaching. They gonna look at you.
That's why you don't sit in the front row.
But,
I sit in the front. I got to see the Lord.
yeah,
up
no,
there.
I don't sit on the front row. I ain't never sit
I'm
on
like
the
the
front row.
fourth row. Okay, I gotta be up there. I don't pay attention back in the back. So
Yeah, no, I don't do that. But like, yeah, basically it's that, or it could be like the fear of like I've talked to like older people, and they, a lot of people have a fear of dementia in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, as they get older, because like their mom or their grandparents, their uncles and stuff
yeah.
have had dementia or Alzheimer's, and so they'll be like, their biggest fear is one day I'm not gonna remember everything. One day I'm not gonna be in control of everything in my mind anymore. So that's another major fear, and that's all underneath that autonomy.
Like I said, that's a fear of mine, but not for myself.
It's fair from
That's for me seeing somebody like my mom go through it.
I'm already seeing stuff that I'd be like, I don't like that.
Mine is really for myself, because like I've had times I think because like in my own mind, because I feel like I'm so in control of my own thoughts and I'm in control of my emotions. I'm supposed to be the one that can handle everything. Like I fear a day where I can be like, I'm not in control and I need somebody to help me because I can't even control my own thoughts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so like that's one of the ones that would be under that type of fear for me. Like I'm not really claustrophobic. I mean, I ain't gonna be in no tight spaces or nothing. Like but I can handle elevators. I can pretty much handle planes and stuff like that. And I can handle most small rooms or whatever. But as far as autonomy, I have more of a fear of losing control of my senses, losing control of my mind, that kind of stuff. That's something that I would always want to be on top of. But like you said, for dealing with other people going through that is rough too.
Yeah.
Like just trying to help them out, because I've been in situations where like a great aunt or whatever has been like, who is that, and it's like me and I've known her my whole life or whatever, and it's kind of
I've
weird.
never dealt with anyone like that.
You have? Wow, actually you've been living pretty privileged.
That's privilege.
I'm just saying with that and that,
that kind of situation, because seeing it'll change you.
Yeah, it's rough, and it's hard. It wasn't that bad for me because it was like a great aunt for me, but like I have cousins that was their grandmother, and like they really were like, they weren't necessarily raised by her, but they've been around her like literally at least a couple times a week for their whole life. And she walking in like, "Who are you, baby?"
Oh.
And like, and they just break down, crying and stuff because of it.
Yeah, to see my grandfather like that at the end, that was hard. Like I said, him raising me and stuff.
How old was he though?
He was like 87, 88.
See, my people they don't live that long.
I'm saying he had always had his mind too until like 20
right, and that's how I feel. Is like I'm the type of person that I feel like I want to be the one that's always in control of my mind, and then I will fear the day that I won't be able to control that no more.
I'm trying to still be out there in the streets.
You trying to be at the club?
No, just out there
at bingo night,
right?
Living it up.
Got my bingo hat on and my fanny pack.
Some people still be doing it.
I know.
My aunt's, her dad is like 101, something like that, driving.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to be.
He's still moving around.
They don't need to be driving.
Man, don't need to be, but he doing
I
it.
bet you he get where he need to go.
I bet he one I'm cussing out there.
He probably is.
Move it, sir.
in an old school act. Right around.
Probably
that sounds about right.
He hit me on 45.
He ride around in a tank.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, so
his car blue.
Nah, it'd be a lot of them old people on the road though.
I'm gonna be one of them. I'm gonna wake up real early.
I hope to be. I hope to be
make people late to work. How they do me.
I hope to be that person on the road that everybody hate because I'm still out there moving at 90 something or something like that.
I won't be that long.
You don't want to be there? I'm gonna be at the Red Rooster drink. I'm just gonna give me one little shot.
Like I say, if I'm blessed with kids and stuff like that, I just want to live old enough to see my kids and see my grandkids, and if everybody's good,
you gonna have to be 80 something, sir.
I'm saying I'll be good at that.
Yeah, like
I don't want to be like 90 to 100.
Oh, nah.
Really?
Man, I'm gonna move on because
Ashley, I'm delirious right now. I'm tired.
Being extra. Nah, okay, so no,
you're gonna be the life of the party at the home.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not gonna be at the home.
Hey, you know,
I ain't gonna be at the home.
Side note. Speaking of homes and life of the party at the home, so do you know that the highest STD rate goes to old people, right?
I've heard of that before.
Go to what?
Old people.
Oh yeah,
like they over 60.
Yeah, they in there getting it
because they don't be wearing no condoms.
How they still getting it if y'all say
Viagra, Cialis?
Everybody got Viagra.
Yeah, Viagra, Cialis. There's all the ED medicines, erectile dysfunction medicines.
Why you even give these people that? They don't need to.
Because they want to have fun too.
No. Oh,
and they can't have no kids, so they just
Johnny
gonna be
Ray don't need to be. He don't need to be over there, and Susie don't need to be on top of. Get off of him.
Hey, if I'm blessed to be there for
it, him don't even hurt.
I want to go out at the peak of my game.
Oh my God.
Peak of your game. I'm going like Color Purple.
Yeah.
How did he die?
On top of me.
Yeah.
That's wrong. That's nasty.
But yeah, so
that's nasty.
All right, so first three were extinction, which is death. Second is mutilation, which is losing some part of your body or function of a part of your body. Third is loss of autonomy, which is, being claustrophobic or fear of losing yourself. And then the fourth one is separation. So this is kind of like what Ashley was talking about earlier about being alone, like a fear of, at the end of the day, am I really going to be by myself? Not just being alone, like, hey, I'm going to sit by myself for the day, but like I'm alone in this world. Like I have nobody to turn to. Like it's a fear that drives other fears.
Yeah.
So like it'll be your fear of social interactions. Like you won't interact socially because, I'm not feeling whatever. But it's driven by the fact that you don't want to feel alone.
You don't want to feel alone, but man, it's like.
Okay, so the example they give is like whenever you get the silent treatment. Why the silent treatment is effective is because it makes the other person feel alone. And so like if it's somebody that you really care about and you really care to talk to and you talk to them all the time and they really want to get to you, they'll give you the silent treatment, which is what women do a lot.
No. Men do it a lot.
No.
Nah, I know.
Men are just silent in general. That's not silent treatment.
Men know how to. That's where I learned it from.
Man, that's not silent treatment.
Dudes taught me how to. Oh, okay. You just gotta play along. Just hit them with the K on the text message and keep going.
And so, like when people do that, if you actually think that they serious or you think that it's somebody that you really care about talking to, it's gonna bother you. And that's that's why the silent treatment is effective, is because the fear of separation is like a major fear for people.
Yeah, like you say, acting like somebody doesn't care. Like for men, like you saying, it's not the silent treatment. Men being nonchalant.
No, it's no.
Like if I act like I don't care, then that's gonna affect a woman more than just me not talking, because men
which
don't
I have
commonly talk.
I have really bad at times. So.
Yeah, I mean I do that sometimes too, where I just
yeah, y'all good at the nonchalant thing.
Yeah, like okay,
I'm not
whatever.
good at that. I just don't talk to you.
And then
Bye.
That works. But at the same time, you already said one of your fears is being alone.
Yeah. So you sit there alone and you think about what you did.
But what if that don't affect them? Then you're just affecting yourself.
It's not. I'm good.
You think you're good, but you already said your fear was being alone.
Well, I don't feel like dealing with you. Oh, I almost cussed. I don't feel like dealing with you right now, so I'm gonna be alone.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so that's one of the big things, is that just like that fear of separation kind of drives people to even be in unproductive situations and be in toxic, dead-end relationships, stuff like that, because it's a fear of separation.
I've also learned if you're quiet, those people will try to reach out more. The people, I don't know why.
Right, because of their fear of separation.
Their fear.
Because
they don't want to be alone.
That's why I said the silent treatment is effective for the person that is giving the silent treatment. Because if you are silent to somebody, they're going to reach out to you because they're going to have a fear of being alone. Okay, let me put it this way. So for men, a lot of times, like men that aren't in relationships, if you're not in a relationship with somebody, a lot of times, and this may just be me and a few people that I know, but when I wasn't in a relationship, I kept contact with a lot of people. Like I kept contact with a lot of women in general.
We know.
Because, and it wasn't even that I was like messing with all of them. It was just that like people feel like you have to have somebody as a backup.
Some kind of interaction.
You had to have some kind of interaction so
you
like
had to have your hoes.
And they're not really hoes. It just you have interaction with a lot of people.
So you had to have your friends.
You have a lot of friends. My little friends.
My little friends.
So like you have a lot of friends or associates because you have this fear of just being alone. So like men don't want to get to a point where they're like
they don't have nobody.
This girl tripping and she don't want to talk no more. So now I gotta wait and try to find somebody and try to court somebody new and all that. So no, you keep yourself a roster so that you're never alone.
So you entertain all. Do you get tired of that? Because I can't do that.
Yes, and then when you get tired of that, you get to a position like me where you're in a relationship, so you don't do that no more.
Nah, there's people that can do that for life. Like they know how to do it.
Well, I mean, some people can, but I mean, the whole point is
I get tired of entertaining people. Like, hey, I ain't got nothing to talk to you.
But the whole point is they do it because they don't want to be by themselves. They have a fear of separation. So like, it don't even matter if they don't even like the people.
I know.
Because in my situation, like when I was...
So you'll still contact, say somebody texts you. You don't like them. You'll text them right back and talk to them.
Not right back, but I'm saying
But you're
like...
going to keep contact.
Yeah. And when I was in that phase, I would keep in contact with everybody just cause. Like, and I wouldn't necessarily keep in contact regularly, but like, you keep some kind of a
So you keep communication with people you don't even like?
I mean, I'm gonna say that I don't like them, but I'm not thinking about like being in a relationship.
I'm not even talking about you don't like them.
I don't like them like that.
You don't, but you keep communication
because I know that I can.
You keep their hopes high, so
because you know that you can.
And we talked about you. You that F boy out there.
I'm telling you why people are fuckboys is because the fear of separation, fear of being alone. You have to do something to protect yourself, and that's the wrong way to protect yourself. But that's what they do it for, to protect their feelings.
That's why I ain't talking to y'all this year.
You should.
Yeah,
you should. Wait till people got their shit together.
Yeah, don't do it.
Lord.
You get your shit together, make sure they got their shit together.
Like I say, it's a double-edged sword with that. Because like I say, yeah, that side of it. But then like...
How y'all keep all that going on?
But I'm saying not even that. Because that's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I can just be alone. And I think that's an issue with myself. Like
you don't have to talk to nobody.
I don't have to talk to nobody. I can be good. Because I just want to be left alone.
But they be calling you.
Yeah, I've had people like saying...
The hoes be calling you.
Blowing me up.
See, that...
No, but I'm just saying... I'm not saying like that. I'm just saying just period. I don't need to talk to nobody. Like I think that's an issue with myself. I
feel you because I can be like that.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's not a constant problem. Like you're not constantly want to be with somebody.
I feel bad when people like text me stuff and I don't want to like text them back or I don't want to talk. I don't know if it's real bad. Like even saying good morning, I'd be like, "What you want?" Not in a mean way, but we really don't talk like that. But I feel bad because I don't want to start that. Because once you sit with the gym. He'll go, well, what's up? How you doing? Like, no, I'm good.
I mean, you just ain't got to respond to everything.
Yeah, right.
The only reason you feel the need to respond to everything is because for the same reason that you talking about me responding to people and talking to people is because you don't need to talk to them people.
I don't need to.
But you respond anyway.
I'm trying to be nice.
You could really let them people go and not respond to them, but then I don't know how that would make you feel.
Like a bad person.
And you don't know how that would make you feel, so you don't even want to test it. So you just
I feel bad for not responding. They didn't do nothing to me. I just be like, we ain't got nothing to talk about. All we say is good morning. I don't really have nothing to say.
So why say good morning?
They said that.
Why do you have to respond?
Because that's polite to say good morning
back.
Think,
and let me tell it to you like this. Okay, so this is like a slow therapy session here. So like... I think that you have a fear of being alone. You've already said that, correct? Yeah. Okay, so
to an extent, like I don't mind being alone, but it is a fear.
The idea. But your first, the first thing that I'm gonna call back.
Not on no relationship.
Let me call back to what you said first, because what you said first was that your initial fear before we even started talking about this was not leaving anything behind. Yeah. And the first thing that you said, and this is Freudian, like this is what you said. Like first thing that came to mind was children. So your fear is not even behind. I didn't even say kids. You mentioned, you alluded to it. So anyway.
I didn't allude to nothing.
Because you talked about kids, then you talked about adopting. So
yeah,
you did talk about kids.
Yeah.
So your fear is going from kids, leaving something behind, being alone, but I can be without niggas. You can't really have all of those together at the same
Niggas
time.
you can be without. I ain't trying to be with y'all niggas. I need a real man in my life.
Well, I mean, girl, man, I'm gonna move on. Hold on, we got one more left. All right, so like the last one is a fear of ego death, and your ego death is basically you being embarrassed. People have a fear of embarrassment.
Of course.
So like people, it's a fear of humiliation, shame, or anything that gets like self disapproval.
Shit, people killing themselves every day because of that.
Right. People get embarrassed and they don't want to.
Like Black China out here living. Oh,
Black China.
She was gonna give
man.
a shit.
Yeah, she's
Her life-
beyond
should be
shame.
embarrassed. Somebody wanted to see
Yeah.
that book.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I'm saying somebody like you should be mad. Like, that's somebody.
Safari should not be embarrassed though.
That's somebody.
No, we're not talking about that.
We ain't talking
Y'all
about
want to talk about that?
No.
What they lied about now?
I avoided that conversation because it happened on the timeline at night. And so when I got back, everybody was like, such and such happened. I was like, what happened? They were like, you don't want to know. I'm like, and they kind of alluded to what happened. I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I missed that. I'm glad I missed all of it. So I don't even want to know what happened. So.
I ain't miss it.
Anyway,
it.
so.
It was all on the timeline.
God is good.
Yeah, but.
I was like, oh my.
I knew Nikki was with him for a reason. Not my bad. We can talk.
Man, anyway,
That
so
nigga
like we were saying, like,
lame, but-
it's a fear of shattering the whatever you've constructed of yourself. So like it's not really like being embarrassed is more about what you think about yourself. So if you think really highly of yourself and you think that whatever happened to you or whatever's going to happen if you do something is going to shatter that and make you not seem like who you think you are, then you don't want to do it. And it'll cause you to be like fear of public speaking.
Oh yeah, I'm a shaker, but I can get on the stage and do karaoke and trap karaoke.
But it's like it's a
that's
difference between doing
different.
that and like
Yeah.
sharing your thoughts.
That's you doing the
Like
action
this-
versus you discussing something.
Yeah.
This is hard.
Well, like just being on the podcast.
This is hard being on a podcast.
Not for you.
Yes, it is. Until when people come back and tell me what I said, you know how I'll be like, yeah, I did say that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
Like,
that's
yeah,
what
I'm
you
putting
don't want.
myself out there.
You
I'm
don't want to
putting
give a bad impression of yourself, and so like
I mean-
you want people to see the you that you want them to see.
I don't, yeah, and also don't like people getting real close to me.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So
You
this
don't
is
want
a lot. This is close to me.
you give out a certain part of yourself to people, and like that's the whole part you want them to see. But
Yeah.
then if they listen to this, they get another side of you. You're like, well, I didn't want you to see that side of me, so now I'm not embarrassed, but I didn't want you to see that, so I don't want you to see that
Yeah,
side.
we got people texting me like, it's gonna be all right. I guess it was one episode I was a little depressed.
Yeah,
But I was like, damn, okay, that was yesterday. I'm good today.
But like that though, some people sometimes you can justify your actions, but you can't justify your words. Like you're saying, like somebody sing you at trap karaoke, you singing, you having fun,
Yeah.
being goofy, whatever case may be. You know what I'm saying? You don't mind being like that, but actually explaining the situation on the stage, or case may be, people question you on your words or on your mindset to be like your intelligence. You know what I'm
True.
saying? That's a whole other thing.
And
That's
like,
true.
and I'm like the polar opposite of that. Like, I can do this. I can do public speaking. I've done speaking engagements, all kinds of stuff. But then when it comes to stuff like having fun on stage, like I have to be drunk. Like, because I don't want people to see me in that
Yeah.
light unless I'm just let go of my inhibitions.
That's how my cousin, she was like, I ain't going on stage. I went out there by myself. I was like, I'm going on stage. This
I
ain't
can
nothing.
do anything but have fun on
Yeah.
stage.
I had fun. I was by myself, even though I was like, y'all need to go to that.
But like I said,
It's
it's just
coming back.
about what side of you want people to see. And Ashley, everybody, you are the fun life of the party person.
Yeah, but we got to talk about something serious sometimes. Like,
Right, and you don't want people to get all deep in, into your feelings.
Because some people don't want to be questioned on their feelings. Like,
Nah,
okay,
I don't want to be questioned.
Yeah.
It's
At
like,
all.
Ashley, nah, I don't need to, nah.
Yeah, but okay.
I like to have fun.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be felt to be made smaller than what they
And
are.
I'm selling dope in my head.
I bet you are.
Get it, whip it through the leg.
How many bricks you got in your head?
Whoop. How many you need?
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, so we're gonna move on real quick because we on
Right answer.
we kind of deep in this for us never started. Okay, so what y'all lying about? So one of the main things that we saw come up on the social media streets was there was a gender roles conversation. So I don't even know how the conversation started, but
Know your place.
and we could
Know
probably
your
have
place.
we could probably have a full episode on this at some point, but just briefly to go over what happens. Like basically, they're talking about how women want men to pay all the bills, and
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
the woman can't fulfill their side.
What's their side?
Okay, so let's
start right now.
And like I said, this is gonna be a full episode one day, but we just to cover this because it came up. The thing about women is like a lot of people think women are supposed to. Okay, if I'm gonna bring in all the money, I'm paying all the bills. You think I'm supposed to be in
that kitchen all the time?
Yeah, you supposed to be cooking and doing all that.
Negative. Okay, I didn't ask you to pay all these bills, but we both gonna be like we gonna sit down and do this money thing. Like I don't believe in that. I don't believe like you're supposed to pay all the bills, but we need to sit down and break it down. Like, if you make more money than me, you're paying the bigger bills. Like, let's be real. Like, I can't afford.
So, if the roles would flip, if you made more money, would you pay the bigger bills?
Yeah, I'll pay the bigger bills. You can get in that kitchen and you could cook.
Well, see, this isn't really an argument then, because we kind of on the same page. So, like,
I ain't got no problem with it.
Yeah, splitting bills ain't a problem for me. Yeah, and some people have a big problem with splitting bills. They feel like the men are supposed to bring in the money.
Like I asked, I almost put
tearing stuff up.
My bad. I asked a question on my Instagram. Would you date someone that made more money than you? And hey, actually, everybody, I'm gonna say like, man, about 80-90% of people said sure, they lying.
You don't think people would date somebody that made more money than them?
I don't think, man, I don't know.
As you talking about men dating women that make more money?
Are women dating men?
So women, you don't think women date men that make more money?
In the past, I think that would be true. Now, I don't think men really care.
Yeah, I definitely
a lot of men like to get taken care of now. And a lot of women are open to taking care of men. So
yeah,
I had a man told me I had to make a certain amount of money for him to even talk to me.
That makes sense.
I was like, oh my God.
I think that if our household is bringing in money, like if I'm gonna be with somebody, then our household needs to bring in a significant enough money to take care of the house. So we both need to bring in some money. So me working
at Walmart ain't good enough for you? I'm trying to go back to school. Work
no,
at
but
Walmart.
I'm saying it for me. It don't really matter. But like I was saying, if the woman, like let's say the woman is like some accounting executive, or now I'm talking shit.
Damn, like saying shit. Both of y'all.
Because he over that line.
Like let's say.
Let's say you lying first.
I did.
Yeah, you did. But so let's say she's like some accounting executive or something. She making like 100,000, and I'm doing my, because counseling therapy, you don't really pay you that much, but
you making like 40.
I'm making a difference. But I make a difference.
He affecting lives out there.
I affect lives, but no, I'm making. I don't make no 40. I kill myself.
Hey, don't down nobody out there like that. You just
hey, we gonna say she make 100,000.
You make about 50.
Let's say 50.
You'll get 50.
I don't even make 50, but let's just say 50. Let's say 100. If she make 100, I make 50.
That's cool. Okay, I can deal with that.
And I'm saying I would be fine with that. Like, but some men would be like, they feel kind of emasculated because the woman pretty much taking care of them. Cause
y'all feel bad when
I don't, but I'm saying some men might.
I don't think y'all generation feel bad about that. It's different now.
Yeah, you're right.
My daddy took care of my mama. Y'all don't even want to buy me a Happy Meal around this joint.
That's the thing. My mama.
You deserve that Happy Meal.
I do.
You deserve to be happy.
I do.
Okay, so basically that was the situation we just described was the situation I came up in. Because my mama was like 6 figures and my dad was, working a regular job at the base. You know what I'm saying? So like,
okay,
my mama made more money.
Mine is too.
Yeah, so.
My daddy made more. But she wasn't that far behind him.
Yeah, no, there was a good difference. I mean, it wasn't that big of a difference, but it was a pretty good difference between my mama and my dad's salary. And so, like, my mama was definitely the one bringing in more money for most of the times they were together. So,
just trying to find
I don't think that's a problem.
Man out here in these streets. That's it.
But anyway,
I think everybody got to know not know their role, but if everybody,
you think my role is to get in that kitchen and cook? Huh?
No, because I cook.
Yeah, so. I was saying I don't mind cooking, so.
I think it should be both. Like,
right. Yeah, I think you should split whatever. I think everything should be split. You
should take the kids out. I should pick up the kids.
Yeah. Everything should be split evenly.
It should be a partnership.
Like, not evenly, but
bills.
Everything should be paid. I think that, and like I said, this is a whole other episode because like you gotta,
you pay the mortgage.
I think that there should be joint accounts for bills and that kind of stuff. But
no,
like I said, that's a whole.
I'm not putting my money with nobody.
How you gonna pay the bills?
We need to sit down and you tell me what I need to pay.
Oh, okay. I mean, everybody's different, like you said.
My money can't be joint together like that.
All right.
So hold on. So you can have an account that you share for bills and then still have your own account.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say you. Okay. Well, I mean, if that's just how you feel, because I was gonna say you could have like you take more money into your account than you give for bills. So that way you give a certain amount for bills, he gives a certain amount for bills. You happen to have more money in your personal.
I just thought about I just can't put my money in with nobody. Like I can't. Well, that's not gonna work.
See, and I'm like I said, that's common. Like a lot of people feel that way. You see
what happened on A Family That Prays. That nigga spent the money. So that ain't about to happen to me.
But it's not gonna happen to you if I have an account just for bills and you have your own account.
No.
And he has no access to that account.
He ain't had no access to her account either.
Wait. Which nigga on Family to Pray?
I mean, when she had that $200,000.
Nigga, she shouldn't have had the $200,000.
He
That's
took the money and started a business. Nah, you ain't gonna take my money, sir.
She got that money from cheating on him.
She slept that for that money. She worked hard for that money.
She got that money from that man from cheating on him.
Look, that wasn't his money to touch. Don't touch my money.
Nah, she got.
That was a movie. She should have sued him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she should have, but I'm on his side on this one because she was out of line. But anyway, that's a whole
you
other
would
story.
be on her side.
No, I understand that it was her money, but
I'm good. I just can't keep up with I'm not gonna be able to do it. I don't know how that works.
All right, so the one other thing that we talked about on the social media aspect was there's a big thing about giving teachers guns. And being that I've been in education for so long, I want to say that I definitely am against giving teachers guns.
I probably wouldn't let my child go to school, to be honest.
Yeah, no, teachers don't need no guns in the classroom.
Do you know how many teachers probably wanted to shoot me in high school? I'm good.
You can't have an open shootout in the STEM school. If there's a gunman that comes on the school, you don't need teachers firing and then somebody else gets killed. And was that recently? That was an old story. They say somebody in the church that somebody tried to shoot somebody at the church grounds or whatever, and one of the guys in the church wrestled the gun away from him.
And shot somebody?
But no, he wrestled the gun away from the guy that was trying to shoot. But while we wrestled him and he beat the guy and got the gun from him, cops came and shot him. Yeah, because he had the gun in his hand.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna know who the shooter is when they pull up, and so if you stand there with a gun in your hand,
they killed him.
No, they don't think they killed him. That's like one of the little boys in the Parkland, Florida thing. He was like in the audio visual something, like in the theater part, and he said everybody was running in, so he opened the door to the auditorium to let people in, and then he went back up to the little room, whatever, and he was kind of like pacing like back and forth because he was scared, and people thought he was the shooter. So when the cops came in, they rushed him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and they thought he was the shooter or whatever because they say he basically just fit the description of the shooter. Like he had like the same shirt on because the shooter had like an ROTC shirt from the school.
Oh, he was looking like one of the students.
Yeah, so the boy's like, he talked on the media. He was like, yeah, I was finna get you. I want to have all these guns like that. He said, the police came about to shoot me because I thought I was a shooter. So who else would think that I was the shooter too? And the teacher would have.
Like, besides, and that's like you're saying, the big thing is like if the teachers have guns, you don't know who's gonna be the shooter. Like if you walk in and you're like, hey, the school's getting shot, because it's not always kids bringing guns to the school. Sandy Hook wasn't a kid.
Yeah, it was just
Sandy Hook was an adult. So if it's an adult walking in with a gun, then like,
what you gonna do?
Which adult is the police supposed to shoot at when they get in there? And if all the adults got guns, like you can't really pick and choose. So, I mean. It's complicated in that regard, but it's also complicated in the simple fact that teachers ain't stable. Like it's like one of the most mentally taxing jobs out there, and you want them to have a pistol on their hip when they're in there.
I would have got shot so many times.
Well, I'm just saying, this is like just like this. They try to give like President Trump, whatever, trying to give the scenario like, oh, the teachers would have been there, they could defend the students. That's that one pro for that. The other negatives of that is like, hey, the teacher has the gun, whatever. Let's say a teacher leaves the gun in his drawer or whatever. Kid can get to the gun. If a teacher and a student gets into an altercation, whatever, the student can pull the gun off the teacher. Mm-hmm. So you have all these situations where like they said, the shooter don't even need to come from outside the school. The shooter's already in the school.
He got in the school.
He's just getting the gun go off. He's just getting the gun from one.
So y'all rather get more guns, put them in the school, than get rid of the guns.
And I had a conversation with somebody about this, and like their argument was, and I hate arguing with people about this because usually who I'm arguing with ain't never been in the school, like they haven't been in that school setting. So like their argument was, well, don't you think the teachers, like the ones that protected the kids, like that one coach that died taking all them bullets and stuff, like, don't you think he would have been better off if he had a gun on him to defend himself? Of course. That would be great if he had a gun to defend himself. But, and I know that school shootings are terrible. And, you know, there's been like, you know, 18 shootings in schools, 6 of them actually being mass shootings or whatever. But for every school shooting there's thousands of schools that weren't having school shootings. So if you increase the guns, you can actually increase that number of school shootings. Cause like now there's guns everywhere. Like there were no guns. They're talking about like one of the arguments the Republicans were making was like, you shouldn't have, it's cause they were in a gun free zone. We should make it not a gun free zone. And that way there'll be more guns there. Well, okay. I understand defending yourself in a school shooting, but there's everyday practices in a school. Shit happens in school every day. So like, since we got to deal with this shit every day, there's so many scenarios that can go terribly wrong by having a gun in the school. Whereas you trying to defend against this 1 in 10,000 chance that there's going to be a school shooting. You're going to put guns in everybody's hand to defend against like a 1 in 10,000 chance of something actually happening. So like now you're increasing problems because there's fights. Like if I tell you like some of the stories of fights that I've had in classrooms, to where like I've had to throw kids over desks like to keep them from killing each other. Imagine there's a gun thrown in the mix there. Like it's crazy to think that you putting more guns on the street in the schools is going to be anywhere helpful for any of that.
Well, like the scenario I always kind of play when they talk about stuff like that. Let's say you have the school shooter come up in there and start shooting, and you have Coach Johnson pulls his gun and they have a firefight and he shoots the school shooter, and like. Okay, everybody's like, oh, he killed the shooter. Yay, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's cheering what the case may be. But then you look behind the shooter and Tina in the 10th grade is holding her chest.
Because the bullet went through.
Because she had a bullet that went through from the gym teacher.
Or just the simple fact that, like, the gym teacher ain't going to be no fucking marksman. He a gym teacher. Like,
he's spraying. Like, so he's keeping his head down. He's shooting.
Like, it's going to be strays everywhere if you start having a shootout with teachers and kids.
So they going to pay them more? Well, they not gonna pay
Nigga,
them.
that's the other thing. They ain't never gonna give teachers no more money. And I know that. That's why I got to get out of education, because they ain't never gonna give teachers more money. They are cutting our budget right now. Our budget's fixing to be down over $100 million next year in this district.
Like, that's funny, because speaking of that, I was talking to my homegirl today, and she had an issue with her son. Mm-hmm. Basically, her son is has like peanut allergies or whatever case may be. She got a call and was like, they was like, oh yeah, we think your son has pink eye, blah, blah, blah. You need to come up here. She was like, well, take him to the nurse. Oh, well, we only have a nurse like 2 or 3 days out the week.
Yeah, they have to rotate them.
They don't have nurses no more?
Because of the budgets, whatever. So
what do you mean? You always have a nurse? That's cool.
So I'm saying, but so she went up there to get him, whatever, and she's like, he ain't have pink eye. Like, what's going on with him? Like, because basically the teacher was like, whoever she talked to was like, I think he has because his eyes all red, blah blah blah. And she was like, well, what is going on with him? Like, let me know. Because she knew about the allergy thing. She's like, it's in his case file, what the case may be. And of course, she said she went up there and then she had to take him to like the urgent care or whatever, because he's had an allergic reaction. He was breaking out, peanut allergy. Like, his throat could have closed up.
Yeah.
He needed like an EpiPen or something like that. But there was no nurse on site to give him that.
What school is this?
It's like an elementary.
I'd say this is regular.
Our nurses now.
I mean, I work at a high school, and so we always have a nurse. But our nurse will leave because she has to go tend to like other schools, because like it's not enough. And okay, so getting back to just the school shooting thing, they were talking about elementary schools, and they were like, Sandy Hook, blah blah blah, all the stuff happened there, and they were like, elementary schools need to have armed guards to watch out for school shootings too. They don't put armed guards in elementary schools. They have rotating resource officers that usually just drive by those schools because they don't have the money to pay resource officers. I mean, we have 2, and that's like a recent development that they started putting 2 resource officers in there. And so like,
but
we have 2 armed security guards.
They in the school, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they patrol the school. I mean, they walk in the school, they walk outside the school and everything. So like,
just 2? How many kids go there?
Oh, thousands.
That's
so like, what happened in Parkland, their security officer was outside, because I mean, they're supposed to patrol the outside and everything. And I mean, of course he was scared, but
I think he was scared.
They had 4 more deputies that showed up that actually stayed outside
scared too. Everybody
so what
was scared.
happened to them? Why they didn't resign?
No, because you think about like this. I'm going in there. Most of the officers, you have a weapon, whatever. You probably got like a 9mm, whatever case may be.
They ain't have what that boy had. I ain't gonna lie.
No, somebody, he got an AR. All he is, you pop, he. Who's
gonna run up in there? To be honest, who gonna run up there? I got a 9. I'm not about to run up in there. Just don't come out here with this.
It's not funny, but I didn't think our picture was Harlem Night. Yes. What you gonna do with that little shit?
Yeah,
that's so messed up.
Yeah, he in that mug spraying.
But they want to talk about, they meant the officer needed help. What was he really supposed to do?
I mean, no, he should have been back in there because he knows the school too, so he knows what.
I ain't going back in there.
If you the officer, they got bulletproof vests on and everything. Like, they need to be back up in there.
I'm not going back in there.
That's why you wouldn't be an officer though.
I could have been an officer of the law.
I'm glad you weren't, since you weren't gonna go back in there.
I serve and protect.
Nah, from outside.
I was trying to make sure everybody else outside.
But yeah, no. So like some of the arguments people were making, like, oh, yeah, they should just get more officers and blah blah. Okay, so first of all, and this, like I said, this is a whole nother argument. Like I'm going above and beyond in this argument, but like everybody talks about getting more officers in the school. That would be beneficial in this situation where you have like a shooter or something. You know what I'm saying? So you have more officers to kind of handle.
Somebody say you need one officer for every 1,000 kids. If you're gonna do it like that,
but that would be cool. The problem is this. Let me tell you what the problem is. What happened when we started bringing resource officers into the school? Anybody remember that video where the girl got flipped out the desk?
Yeah.
And everybody was complaining about, why do they have officers like that in the school? Like, that's what happens. These resource officers, and there's nothing against them because like the resource officers at our school are cool as hell to me. But like in some places, these resource officers come down on us with the dark skin. They come at them kids and they be putting them in handcuffs and over like minor offenses and stuff. They're not there for school shootings. They there to arrest kids that are doing minor infractions. Like they're not there for school shootings. And so like everybody's saying, yeah, we just need more of them in there. No, that would just end up with more of our kids being thrown around in handcuffs and being taken to juvie and all them kind of places, and more kids in the system and all of that. Because these kids are getting arrested because those officers are on campus.
So, which is crazy. Because like I said, they getting by the officers, whatever. They just be, for us in school, they just be one of the coaches.
Right. Like you have
one of the coaches be whooping your ass or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember, like, well, we did have a police officer when I was in high school, but like it was maybe one.
We had a couple.
We had like 2.
3, 4.
It was one that I know that was steady. I know we had 2 in there, but there's one that I always saw.
Mm-hmm. I think we had maybe middle 2. School too. We was real. I guess.
In middle school we had some security guards, but I don't think they were armed.
Oh my god!
Like, they didn't have guns.
We had armed. No, we had armed.
I mean, it was like we had like one resource officer.
I guess it was bad. Well, you know, like when I first started middle school, it was a black and Mexican war going on, or something crazy like that. I was like, oh, they tripping.
I was on the nice white side of town, so
I'm sorry.
Those are the white kids feeling great.
It's a great feeling, ain't it? It's a great feeling.
But anyway, actually, it's not such a great feeling anymore because that's where the shootings are happening.
Yeah, that is true. They not
happening.
You don't hear no. I'm just saying, Jerome ain't out there shooting folks. We might be out there.
Well, unless you're ripping colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only time.
He ain't out there shooting.
Let me say this.
Don't shoot schools.
I'm gonna end it on this. The only time I had that problem was I was working at a school that was pretty much all black, and the only time we had an issue like that was when one of the kids got shot at a party, and so like they had threatened retaliation. So like at the school we worked at, of course the school I worked at, it was already, because you know hood schools they keep on lockdown anyway.
Oh yeah.
So our school had locks on the doors anyway, and you had to have a card to open up the door in any of the doors in the school.
Wow. Okay.
So because it's a hood school. No, it wasn't no metal detectors.
Oh, so y'all was like lean on me. Yeah. Okay.
But like but you could open it from the inside or whatever. But anyway, so because they threatened retaliation, we had like helicopters, we had police officers like in every hallway. Like everybody, they were watching the outside. They had patrol cars passing around every once in a while for like a week. That's the only time I was at a hood school and they actually felt like some shooting was going to happen at the school.
Well, y'all remember Columbine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when that happened, we got a whole bunch of bomb threats and stuff.
Yeah, we got a bunch of threats. And that was back when ghost phones were active, so people could call in bomb threats and you couldn't trace them.
We used to go home early. Mm-hmm. Yeah, best days of my life.
Yeah, I think we had like, we had to come out, we had like 2 or 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we used to have like 3 a week.
But let me tell you how the district do it. They might have set a bomb threat at 8 a.m. They're going to keep you in there at 10:30 because they got to get paid. They kept us in to a certain amount of time, then put us on the bus to go home.
Oh, they never sent us home for no bomb threats.
What?
They put us in the auditorium. They put us in like
we went outside. Like we would be on the football field.
Oh we stayed in that room. They was like, stay in the room.
No.
Some people had to leave. I don't know what they was doing.
They took they had like basically a fire drill. Everybody had to go to the football field, and we knew it was a bomb threat if we were out there for more than an hour. Like so we'd be sitting on the football field for like 3 hours, and then they finally bring us back in.
Be sitting outside. No.
Like it had gotten to a point where people had started packing shit in their backpack like frisbees and shit because they were like, if we have bombs there today, we might as well get ready to play.
Frisbees.
I was at white schools.
I'm just looking at you like frisbees.
And football frisbees. White people do this shit.
Frisbees.
I wasn't throwing a damn frisbee. I'm just saying that's what they was doing.
Like, playing ultimate frisbee.
Okay, I'll mark on that.
Touchdown with the frisbees.
Man.
All right, so anyway, let me move on, man.
Black History Month.
We over an hour already, guys. So, all right, so the Woo Side segment for today, real quick. And this is just going back to fear. And one of the big fears, like I said, was like embarrassment and, you know, not feeling comfortable around people or whatever. Like, so if you have any of those types of fears, there's some steps that you can take to face the fears.
Okay.
The first thing you got to do is identify your fear. Know what your fear is. Know if it's getting in the way of your goals and things like that. Because that's the one thing you don't want fear to do is to stop you from doing something. So figure out what the fear is and figure out what you need to do to combat that fear. So your second step, or the second thing you have to do is to start making at least baby steps to conquering the fear or getting past it.
I have a fear of going to work.
So if you don't have a fear of going to work, you don't like going to work.
Okay, what's the difference?
A fear of going to work means you can't do it. Like you can't do it at all. You've been doing it. You'll be all right. You've been doing it. You'll be all right. So anyway, you take baby steps to get past it or start getting ready to get past that fear so that you can reach your goals. The third thing is to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you got to speak yourself, like give yourself a goal. Give yourself something to look forward to. And it's like I said, everybody knows what a self-fulfilling prophecy is, right? So it's like, I don't even know a good example. But self-fulfilling prophecy is just something that you give yourself to do. And if you do it, then you have conquered your fear.
Yeah, like you see a lot of people recently, some celebrities, I can't remember like exactly who, they say like, hey, I'm gonna win a Grammy one day. Or I'm gonna play in the NBA.
Or like Jim Carrey, he wrote himself a $10 million check.
Yeah.
And then
I wrote one too.
Okay, well, that's a self-fulfilling. If you work towards it and you get it, cash it out. All right, and then so the fourth,
I did not write no check.
The fourth step is to consider the source of your fear. So if you're scared of, like, let's say public speaking, like you can't get, why are you so scared of public speaking?
I don't like people looking at me like.
And then so you need to consider the source. Why? What is it that these people can do if they're looking at you? Why is that your fear?
They just staring.
So your fear might be that they're judging you, and you might have, and then so like I said, this is more of a therapy type thing. So like, if you're considering the source of your fear, then you have to figure out, okay, do I feel like I've been judged before? Or did something happen in elementary school where people started pointing and laughing at me because I peed on myself while I was giving a speech or something?
Do you know me?
You gotta find shit.
Damn.
Like, so if that's the source, then you need to combat that source.
Peabody
Oh, you peed on yourself.
Oh, pissy little girl.
I ain't never peed on myself.
We gotta lie now.
Oh.
In front of nobody.
Yeah.
I was going to say, everybody done peed on themselves, bro.
Not in front of nobody.
It's okay.
Well, okay, so
pissy.
He's coming pissy.
All right, so the last step is to, once you consider the source, you know your fear, you actually started making steps towards it, is to maintain momentum. Once you start moving,
Pissy Ray.
Man, forget you.
There she go, Pissy Ray.
all right, so once you've gotten everything out the way, you start making your steps. You keep your momentum, like keep moving forward, maintain momentum. That's what's going to help you conquer that fear. Like if you start being like, shit, let me slow down, let me not do that, I'm scared again, then you're just going to be scared for the rest of your life.
Like sometimes I fear like going to the gym.
Right, that is a valid fear. Like
I feel like everybody looking to see how I'm gonna lift these weights or something. I be like,
and
I
you just
can't
gotta
lift.
keep going.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I just be on YouTube. I mean, when I got work out by myself, it's horrible because I do be looking at like how.
I only work out by myself, so I don't.
Oh,
I don't like working out with people.
You don't? I love it
because I feel like people are a distraction, and I'm easily distracted.
Well, I have like group training, so I like it.
Well, if I'm with some people that are working, then that's different. I just don't
today.
I don't like being with people because a lot of times we work out with people and then people want to have conversations and shit. And I'll be involved in the conversation because I get easily distracted.
And that's my trainer actually liked how he used to do me because I try to switch to, hey, let's have a conversation. He's like, that's nice. Give me 2 more.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't like conversation.
2 more and wear me out. So we're talking about.
I keep my headphones in. Even if I've worked out with people before, but I try to keep my headphones in so that they know I don't want to talk to them. I want to keep going. I want to keep working.
That don't work.
I know it doesn't work, but that's the sign. I'm trying to get away.
Old man up there talking about, hey girl, the next time you get on, you do your squats.
Oh, see, we don't have that issue. That's you.
When you do your squats, girl, don't put it on your neck. Put it right here. Yes. Get your ass away.
Go ahead and bend down like right there.
Yeah, right there, girl.
That arch in your back.
What are you doing
I
here?
bet you get that arch in your back another place too. Huh?
By the way, my name's Billy. I'll be like, what the?
All right, so
you ready to go see Black Panther? What kind of drinks you like?
All right, so anyway, we gotta get out of here, man. He's an hour, 15 minutes in already.
I just been yelling it.
All right, so anybody got any businesses?
What you got, PC Ray?
I can't tell y'all where I get my tacos from. I don't want to see none of y'all up there.
Taco Tuesdays. That's where the hell you was?
That's where you were?
No, I told y'all I wasn't.
Ask gonna come here late because it's Taco Tuesday?
I ain't been there for a minute. I was gonna tell y'all where to go.
Where you go?
I don't need to have y'all.
You know what? I used to go to this place called St. Danes. That's where you at?
Oh, that's my. I don't know. That's it. How you
St. Danes, St. Danes got good taco specials on
dollar tacos. I think it was $2-3 beers. They got karaoke tonight. It's a Tuesday, so
yeah. So
I didn't do karaoke. I ain't scared of that. Now, if I gotta really talk about some stuff,
you scared to have your feelings out there. We can dive into you later on, Ashley, because you have a lot to talk about. But okay, so we just go with St. Danes today because I do like their Taco Tuesday. It's been a long time since I've been though. They got
shrimp, chicken, and beef. I don't eat the beef though.
Yeah,
we don't know what dogs are back there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so if anybody has anything, just shoot it to us. What's the Remedy Podcast at gmail.com.
And don't be afraid.
Our Twitter is at What's the Remedy. Instagram is at What's the Remedy Podcast. Look at the YouTube. Make sure you check the description for all the businesses. And I mean, we still looking for, sponsors. If somebody want to sponsor us, shoot us a little cash. In fact, I'm gonna set up a little Patreon or Cash App thing, and then we're gonna take some money, some donations or something.
Yeah, we broke.
We trying to, and it ain't even just to get paid. I just want to pay. Okay. We got to pay for putting this out. This costing us.
Yeah,
this is costing
time
us
is money.
So yeah. Anyway, so we'll holler at y'all.
Go to the rodeo, do some stuff.
Oh, you going to the rodeo? Oh, I'm going to a musical tomorrow.
What musical?
Memphis.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either. I just read a little bit about it. I'll tell y'all next week about it.
Oh, okay. All right, y'all. We holler at y'all.
Have a good one.
Mama said you better be home. When them street lights on. Hey, when the street lights on. Hey, when the street lights on. They ain't doing nothing but wrong. When them street lights on. Hey, when the street lights on. Cause when the street lights on.